to it. Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question. Can you hear me? It's Tom.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead,
Um,
Tom.
could, could you speak about the kindness of the teacher helping the student to open from the core?
Takes a lot of patience to be a teacher.
No, I, I'm not wearing my hearing aids right now. What'd you say?
I I said it takes a lot of patience being a teacher.
I heard that.
I have probably 25 people sitting here, maybe more. I don't know. Each one of them is unique, different. Each one of them requires me adapting the Shakti that flows through me to touch upon their uniqueness. Some people are very difficult, which means I have to be even more kindly to them because mostly the difficulty comes from insecurity, it comes from pain, it comes from fear inside human beings. So it requires compassion. I remember myself when I first started doing this, and God bless Rudy that he had patience with me, what I was like. So, yes, without that kindness, I mean, you can't whoop somebody into shape. I mean, this is not the army. You understand? You can't just, beat people, into shape. They have to be loved into shape. They have to be nurtured into shape. One has to understand that each and every person has to overcome many different obstacles in themselves in order to connect with a higher energy in the universe. And my job is just providing, being a channel, not even providing, being a channel for Shakti, for energy to help people do this. Now, if I'm all knotted up inside, that Shakti is not going to flow, or it'll come out of me as anger, impatience, unkindliness, being imperious to other people, self-importance. It'll come out of me in a stupid way. I have to get free of me in order for this class to work. And to get free of me, it means I have to arrive at a place where my heart is open. If your heart is open, there's going to be kindness. There's going to be patience. Without that, frankly, it's all bullshit. I mean, look, when I lived in Denton, Tom, I was not this way. I was a very different way. But I was a very young guy thrown into a situation that was a very difficult situation, living in a place I really didn't want to live in and having to make the best of it and dealing with a lot of very neurotic people every day, being almost like a father to a family of people that had lots of problems. And I always felt like I was about two sentences in the page in front of everybody else. And sometimes it came out of me in not a very nice way. But it took years to overcome that and to develop myself as a human being and to understand, that my role isn't being a swami. I've said this many times, not being a teacher. My role in this is to truly help people build a chakra system inside, where they can sit in front and embrace the real teacher, which is life. Life is the real teacher. Now, I can't do that if I'm all tied up inside myself. I can't transmit the Shakti that will enable people to do what I'm talking about. I'm too wrapped up in my own problems, my own neurosis, my own anxiety, my own fears, my own self-importance, and all that other crap that keeps spiritual energy from ever flowing. So, in order to do what my karma has brought me into a place that I have to do, I'd have to get free of me, which means I have to do this with my heart open. And frankly, when I see people grow and I see them change and they suddenly have a whole different kind of energy that they're living, I mean, it just feels, it happened last night with somebody, I mean, who'd been studying with me for many years. And there's this major change taking place inside her. And it required me to just tell her that in a very kind, because honestly, when you go through major changes, life isn't easy. And very often people don't even understand what they're going through. So yes, you have to be kind. And kindness isn't something you have when you're an erotic young person feeling insecure all this time and not having any sense of what your purpose is in life or why you're even born in the first place. Kindness comes through maturity, for having been through all the different battles and to understand a very simple principle. This too shall, everything passes. And there's no sense getting crazy about any drama that manifests in anybody's life because it all passes. It happened to me this morning with my daughter. God bless her. It was so funny. I called her last night. She said, Daddy, I was just thinking about you. I said, I know. Daddy, I want to come back to meditation class. And it really touched me so deeply, and she was so bright and glowing and she's been through a lot of difficult times, my daughter, and glowing and bright and happy and uh, it took time and patience for even that thing to take place. And kindness and patience with with all of you and with myself. You think I don't have to have patience with myself? I really have to have patience and kindness with myself. Stuart, stop it. You're not here to be better than anybody else. You're not here to be imperious to the world because, I mean, Rudy told me I can be replaced by the Roadrunner. I have never forgotten it. Bugs Bunny can do, if I start getting involved in my ego and my self-importance and my position as General Stewart, with a force of yogis in front of me. It's just stupid. I could be replaced by Bugs Bunny. At least everybody would laugh. So, look, you're right. You have to have kindness. Kindness is not something that comes when you're very young. Anger does. Revenge does. Rebellion does. Because, frankly, there's so much bullshit in the world, that young people get angry very quickly at all the crap that goes on that they have to deal with in just growing up, having some kind of a life for themselves. Then it takes deep inner work, overcoming you know, those blocks, the tension, and allowing oneself to truly understand that we cannot be an impediment to God's energy flowing through us into other human beings and into life. I hope that's clear. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Does
Thank you.
anyone else have a question?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Bob.
As you know, Rudy could be brutal, and there's a lot of his recorded talks, but still, there was a healing modality about it. Can you talk about that?
Yes, trust me, I know about how brutal Rudy could be. Trust me, I had my ass kicked all the time when I was studying with him. But it was from love, Bob. This was There was a purpose to what he did. It was really, Rudy was like incense. It was fire burning and sweetness coming out of him. I mean, and the fire used to burn your karma. It would make you get your shit together. But getting your shit together means that you had to get to that place where there was that sweetness inside you. It was amazing. I mean, yeah, he used to upset me no end, you know. I mean, one day he walked up to me, he said, why is this guy so great and you're such a schmuck? Once told me this. I mean it. And I looked at this person and I couldn't see any greatness, but I was a schmuck. And I said, all right, Stuart, you're living in the kingdom of schmuckdom. Change, grow. Don't fight with your teacher. Don't get upset and angry. Just grow, grow. And then, 5 days later, he would hug me and say, you're my favorite of all my students. He really did, you know. And I'm not kidding. I went through this. It was like an elevator yo-yo going up and down. But he did it with a reason. You understand? He knew I could take it. He knew, and he came up to me and told me, I have broken with Muktananda, but I'm going to experiment with his techniques for the next year. And those were pretty dark techniques. I mean, most of you really never met Muktanand. I was there. And I'm digging a ditch. And I said, Rudy, he said, I'm going to use you as the guinea pig. And I said, how deep, I said to him, how deep should I dig this ditch? I mean, I knew what I was going to go through. And he put me through it. And God bless him for having put me through it because after he passed on, you cannot believe the bullshit I had to deal with from people. Unbelievable. I mean, black magic and all kinds of crap I had to deal with from other people. If I didn't get that training, I could not have dealt with it. He knew I had to get that training. So he didn't make it easy, but it was all done from love. It was all done in the service of God to prepare people, you know, to live in this kind of crazy, stupid world we live in and be a channel for spiritual energy, to have the strength to be a channel for spiritual energy. And it took me a while to understand what he was doing. At first, I got very upset when he used to do that stuff. And then after a while, I began to realize, so you need this. You need this kind of training. You need to be able to deal with the contrast that life presents to you every single day. And boy, did I ever need it when he passed on. I'm telling you, man, without that training, I could not have survived. I mean, it was very interesting hanging out with Rudy, you know. He was a very powerful force, and he didn't put up with much bullshit, Rudy. And at the same time, he put up with everybody's bullshit and understood that it was his job to help people transform all of that craziness into a spiritual life. When I was younger, I thought I could do this by lecturing people. And then I realized it doesn't work, Stuart. It doesn't work. And I had to completely transform my way I interacted with other human beings. And it took years to get to a place where I am today. And without Rudy's training, I could have never gotten to do it. I couldn't be talking like this today. The conversation or the lecture would be me knowing and you learning. This lecture is not me knowing and you learning. It's not even a lecture, it's a talk. And it's about me learning also. Yeah, I sat through those talks he gave in Big Indian. I was there. It wasn't on a tape. I was there listening to how many times he told them, I'll never come back here again. Nobody is working. You're not working on yourself. The place is, I mean, yeah, I heard all that stuff. I was sitting, and I remember one day I was walking, Rudy and I were schlepping trees, cutting down trees from the side of a mountain because he wanted to put an apple orchard in there. And we spent the whole morning doing that, you know? And he and I were just where it was just him and I. And we were walking back, it was lunchtime, to the dining hall in Big Indian. And he was talking about how people, living in Big Indian were not, I mean, they just weren't getting it, what they weren't doing the work on themselves that they should be. So I said to him, Rudy, well, what happens to all these people? You know what he said to me? He said, Stuart, in 20 years, you'll be here. You'll be doing this meditation. You'll be, doing this kind of inner work, and you'll be helping people get closer to God. He said, none of these people will be here. And I would say 95% of those people are no longer here that were living in Big Indian at that time. So, I mean, I don't know where they are, but I would suspect that most of them are not doing Rudy's meditation practice. So it was a very interesting period. And what I learned from him was just something, do your work. Don't worry about anybody else. Get the teachings. He kept telling me that all the time. Get what I have to teach. I mean, Rudy, Rudra was a form of Shiva, the earliest form of transformation in Hinduism. And he was named, Swami named him after Rudrananda, after the earliest form of Shiva. He told me this all the time. He was embarrassed. He said, nobody in this country is a Swami. It's ridiculous. He said, but I had to do it in India in order to get the teachings. They wouldn't give me the teachings if I didn't become a Swami. So they made him a Swami. But he, I never saw him wearing a robe unless he was maybe teaching in the meditation room. His token to orange was like mine. It was a T-shirt. He used to wear an orange T-shirt all the time. Rudy. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart. That was very good.
You're welcome, Bob. Yesterday we have an in-person class. I asked if anybody has any questions, and nobody had any questions. I said, well, Bob Sink is not here. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, I sent out an email, or Jennifer did anyway, about this last podcast I did with the Global Book Network. I hope you all listened to that. It's very interesting. The guy is a good interviewer. We kind of laughed a bit, but he let me really explore this meditation and what's in my book. And I think you'll enjoy it if you listen to it. I think Jennifer sent it out to all of you, in an email. So God bless you all. Thank you. Have a wonderful Sunday. And there'll be class. Well, there'll be a class this evening. Pat will be teaching. And then there's a class tomorrow night. And the next class like this will be on Tuesday. God bless you all. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody soon.
God bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Mm.